In Bahrain, security forces have dispersed another anti-government rally, firing tear gas and rubber bullets. It's the latest violence against a peaceful movement that flared up more than a year ago. But despite the oppression, Washington has resumed arms sales to the Bahraini regime, which is a key U.S. ally, as RT's Gayane Chichakyan reports.
Amid Bahrain's persistent crackdown on protesters, journalists, and human rights activists, Washington welcomes Bahrain's Crown Prince.
Again, Your Royal Highness, welcome to the United States.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
And pledges to resume arms supplies to a key ally in the Gulf. The U.S. had suspended weapons sales to Bahrain in the light of massive human rights violations by the authorities there. But now the State Department has issued a statement saying that American weapons will soon be heading to Bahrain again.
We've made this decision, I want to emphasize, on national security grounds. We've made this decision mindful of the fact that there remain a number of serious, unresolved human rights issues in Bahrain, which we expect the government of Bahrain to address.
Bahrain hosts the U.S. Fifth Fleet. It's around 40 ships, 2 aircraft carriers, 16,000 personnel, a major force in the Gulf region. Clyde Prestowitz, a top economist in the Reagan and Clinton administrations, argues the U.S. has traded principles for military bases.
We've sided with the ruling Sunni regime because of the base of the Fifth Fleet in the Gulf. And so, yeah, I mean, I think that we compromised ourselves.
In the same statement announcing the resumption of arms supplies to Bahrain, Washington calls for the country's opposition to show restraint.
We're concerned by what has now become almost daily street violence. And we urge in this context Bahrain's political opposition to call for an end to the violence against police.
That's a stark difference from the U.S. approach towards other countries in the region engulfed in anti-government protests, where the U.S. has tacitly or openly encouraged violence against government forces.
In Libya, the United States was openly attacking and supporting the Libyan rebels in their attacks against the state, even though this was an R2P situation, and that was the UN cover for it. And in Syria, similarly, there has been no calling for a restraint from violence by the opposition forces there. So it's a little bit odd to see this only in Bahrain. It's a highly asymmetrical situation. It's not a case in which there's enormous violence brought by the protesters against the police forces. It's clearly by the Bahraini state against the civilians.
The general perception is that the U.S. doesn't want to rock the boat in Bahrain because of its Fifth Fleet there. So it's a case of eyes wide shut at human rights violations. It might seem like a normal trade-off in the world of politics, but critics say it makes a mockery of America claiming the high moral ground in other countries in the Arab world where political unrest rages. I'm Gayane Chichakyan reporting from Washington, RT.